In this video, we are going to talk about the debt snowball and avalanche strategies. If you or someone you know has done everything right up till now and is ready to start paying their debts but doesn't know how to go about it, then you've come to the right place. By the end of this video, you'll understand the debt snowball and avalanche strategies, their strengths and weaknesses, and be able to determine which of the two better suits you. Welcome back, Money Masters. It's another Finance Friday, where we are flipping the switch on credit and debt to shed some healthy light on how you can safely use other people's money to achieve your dreams. As we mentioned earlier, today we are going to talk about the debt snowball and avalanche strategies, which will help you understand their strengths and weaknesses and be able to determine which of the two better suits you. But before we dive in, I just want to let you know that on Saturday, we will be discussing James Clear's book, Atomic Habits. So if you don't want to risk missing out on that episode, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon so that you can be notified of our next amazing video. Okay, with all that said, if you're just like us and you're totally committed to obtaining financial independence, then go ahead and tap that like button and let's get into it. When it comes to paying off debt, a lot of people put importance on budgeting their money and gradually saving it up so that they will eventually be able to prepare enough money to pay off their debts. Now, that is quite alright. Taking the time to study your spending habits and adjusting those habits to free up money is important. However, I would bet that a decent percentage of those same people have not considered how they are going to pay off all their debts. This miscalculation could end up costing those people hundreds or even thousands of dollars in the long run, which they might have been able to avoid if they had done their research about the debt payment methods. Thankfully, we will be discussing these methods shortly. The debt snowball method and how it works. Our first debt payment method is the debt snowball method. The debt snowball method was popularized by personal finance author and businessman Dave Ramsey. This debt reduction strategy is rooted in the prioritization of the smallest debts first when you pay off your debts, regardless of interest rates. This means that you pay off any debts in order of the smallest debts to the largest debts and make minimum payments on all your debts except the smallest, which you pay off as much as possible. This manner of settling your debts allows you to quickly free up smaller amounts of money. After that, you put the minimum payments you were making on those settled debts plus the extra money you were paying to settle it faster all into the next smallest debt. Now, this is a good thing, but it is not the main draw of this particular debt reduction strategy. The advantages of the debt snowball method. The real allure of sticking to this method is that you get a psychological boost from paying off your debts. This is because, naturally, whenever you settle any debt that you have, you will feel like a weight's been lifted from your shoulders. This high that you will be receiving from taking those outstanding balances and slowly taking those off of your list is going to help you stay motivated to keep reducing your debt. For a lot of people, this is a big enough pro to choose this specific method. Overall, the debt snowball works not because of any mathematical advantage or pattern, but because it attacks one of the main factors that affect your finances: your behavior and mindset. Following this method will give you hope that you will eventually become debt-free, and that hope will carry you through to the end of your journey to become debt-free. Let us illustrate our point with an example. In our hypothetical situation, you have 5 debts: a $2,000 credit card balance with a $59 minimum payment, a $400 medical bill with a $40 minimum payment, a $20,000 student loan with a $144 minimum payment, and a $5,000 car loan with a $98 minimum payment. If you follow the debt snowball method for paying off these 5 debts, you would be paying off the minimum payments for these debts. Aside from that, you're going to do what you can to pay additional for your medical bill since that is the smallest debt that you have. To that end, let us say you got a side hustle that brings in $400 and you add that to your payments for your medical bill. With that, now that $400 medical bill is gone and will not ever bother you again. The next month, you can dedicate the money you used to pay that medical bill and add that to your payment for the credit card balance to the tune of $499. With this kind of development in your debt situation, anyone would feel energized because they just paid off one of their debts. The disadvantage of the debt snowball method. There are disadvantages to this debt reduction method though. For one, if it becomes too difficult to stay motivated while working on your debts even while following this method, you may lose the main benefit of using this method in the first place. The second bigger problem with the debt snowball method is that this strategy does not consider the individual interest rates that each debt has. In some cases, following the debt snowball method will end up with you choosing to prioritize debts with lower interest rates while ignoring the higher interest debts purely because the lower interest rate debts are easier to pay off. This means that the debt snowball strategy is not going to be the most cost-efficient way to pay off your debts, and as such is not going to be the fastest method of doing so either. If you are looking for a quicker and more efficient strategy for clearing your debts, then you should take a look at our next debt reduction strategy, the Debt Avalanche method. Before we continue though, what are your thoughts on the debt snowball method? Is the psychological benefit a shoo-in for you? Let us know in the comments down below. How the Debt Avalanche method works. The Debt Avalanche method does much of the same that the Debt Snowball method does. It allows you to pay off your debts faster, but this particular method will let you pay them off faster than the Debt Snowball method and will have you paying less money overall too. The critical difference between the two methods is that the Debt Avalanche method prioritizes the debts with the highest interest rates regardless of the principal of these debts. You still make the minimum payments on all of your debts, only that the target of your extra payments this time are the debts with big, double-digit interest rates like your credit card debts or a personal loan. Once those debts are paid in full, you then put the money you have freed up in the debts with the next highest interest rate. The advantages of the Debt Avalanche method. The main advantage to this method is that by paying off the highest interest debts as fast as possible first, you will save yourself loads on the interest payments. Doing it this way will also allow you to clear debts faster since you are focusing on the debts that grow the fastest thanks to interest, meaning that you will be working with smaller debts in total compared to the Debt Snowball method. Let us take an example provided by Investopedia and apply the Debt Avalanche method to that. Say that you have $3,000 extra to devote to debt repayment each month, then the Debt Avalanche method will make your money go the furthest. Imagine that you have the following debts. $10,000 credit card debt at an 18.99% annual percentage rate, $9,000 car loan at a 3% interest rate, $15,000 student loan at a 4.50% interest rate. Following the Debt Avalanche method, we decide to pay off the credit card debts first because of its double-digit interest rate while making the minimum payments on the other debts. Assuming you were able to pay off that first credit card debt, you would then have the rest of the year to focus on the other two lower interest debts, prioritizing the student loan for its 4.50% interest rate. If you follow this method, you'd be debt-free in 11 months after focusing on the credit card debt and paying a total of around $1,011.60 in interest, whereas if you followed the Debt Snowball method, you'd be debt-free in the same time frame, but it would cost you around $1,514.97 in interest instead. This benefit gets even more tangible the bigger the mountain of debt that you have. Following the Debt Avalanche method can potentially cut the time it takes for you to become debt-free by months at a time. The disadvantage of the Debt Avalanche method. Now, the monetary benefit of using this method cannot be ignored, but at the same time, following this method can be mentally and emotionally taxing, especially when compared to the psychological benefits you get from the Debt Snowball method. Paying off your debts is stressful in general, but when you decide to take the debts with the biggest interest rates first, which may sometimes have high principal amounts in the first place, it can get demoralizing when you see the numbers tick down, but you still have the same numbers of debts in your list. It does not feel like you're making a dent at all, even though this route could potentially save you a lot of money eventually. The fact of the matter is that this method is not for everyone because it is harder to stick to the Debt Avalanche compared to the Debt Snowball, and the stress you get might prevent you from sleeping well at night. Now that we have seen what the two debt repayment methods can do, it is up to you to decide which method works the best given your situation. Before we bring this video to a close, we'd like to know what your thoughts on the Debt Avalanche method are. Do you think you would pick this method over the Debt Snowball method? Let us know in the comments below. And that's all we have for you today. We hope you learned some very helpful insights from what we've shared with you today. Please don't forget to leave a like on our video if it was able to help inform and positively influence your financial decisions and lifestyle, and leave a comment down below about how you feel like this video will help you boost your overall income. Also, if you love our content, subscribe for more Money Masters content and updates, and so that you don't miss out on our next episode of Storytime Saturday, where we will be discussing James Clear's book, Atomic Habits. Also, we'd like you to consider sharing this video with at least one friend. It would mean the world to us if you would join us in our mission of helping good people like you keep more of what they earn and earn more from what you keep. That'll be all from us in this video, Money Masters. We'll see you in the next video.